Hello, welcome to SEO.com.
Conspiracy?
How are you, Lauren? What are we talking about today?
I'm very well, thank you. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good actually. Life's there's sunshine outside. It was raining all morning, but it's good now.
I live in a country where we have 300 days of sunshine per year.
You
You
think I
have
should be impressed about that?
you
We have
have
300 days of rain per year.
and I'm not trading. You
you.
can have my sunshine. Look, I'm tan and still in middle of November.
Hate you. Hate you.
Okay, topic of the day.
Canonicals, particularly the dangers of canonicals. I think we were going to go and try and focus on. So where does it go horribly wrong? And you've got a few stories, I think, of where canonicals really mess up.
We shot a
You're not a fan of canonicals, are you? Really, you don't like them at all.
well, we already published a video about anything rel invented. So rel nofollow is evil. It's the worst thing that ever happened to the SEO industry. Even not provided is nothing compared to that. But those what I call band-aid, the Google band-aids, are invented by Google for people who don't know how to do properly the work. So, yes, it's easy to put in place, but if not done properly, you can self-destruct your website like instantly. I call it auto negative SEO or whatever you want.
Give the folks an example.
Okay, an example: Magento. By default, they corrected it, but by default, you had URL with a slash, a trailing slash, and nothing. So the canonical was redirecting to the URL with the trailing slash, and the one without was pointing to the one without.
Oh, so basically,
So,
okay, all right, yes.
and that was like by default in a CMS like Magento. That was not even like some developer coming out with a. And at the beginning, Canonical was meant to be used like this. All the pages pointing to the parent page would have the attribute pointing to the parent page. Now, people were too lazy to do that, so they just put the canonical on the parent page, and
So that all the other pages would then have the same canonical. Yeah.
so then Google adapted, and Bing said, "Hey guys, it's not working for us like that." So then later on, they adapted. But what is it meant for, really? Why?
The best description I ever heard for canonicals is you're telling a search engine what is your preferred URL. It's so basically canon just means it's an archaic word for preferred actually. So a religious canon is a preferred vicar basically, or a preferred priest or something like that. But I can see absolutely if you've got that situation. I didn't know about the Magento example, but if you're sitting there and telling one page that it should be this page and the other page that it should be this page, and you're not being consistent, then of course that's going to be a real mess because Google's never going to work that out.
Is it? I don't even know if it's a directive or just a hint or a signal. Does Google have to comply?
No, it doesn't have to comply. Oh, Google doesn't have to comply with anything.
To anything
There's
anyway.
no law in it. This is entire. So Google doesn't have to apply with anything.
Yeah. So it's just a hint, and
But what would you do? I mean, I would try and use htaccess ideally to have it so that it was pretty well impossible for you to have it you either choose a trailing slash or not the trailing slash, and basically you choose you htaccess so that the www is sorted, the https is sorted, the slash or not trailing slash is sorted. You still have the problem though if you're going to start adding UTM URLs and things like that.
Question mark in the URL is a big issue here.
So there is still some reason for having canonicals, I think.
Question mark, I replace it with a hashtag.
Well, that's fine. You can do that, but people will still have tracking things that they start putting through to, you know.
Yeah.
So I could put a link through to FrenchTouchSEO.com / Dixon sent this, you know, and then you've got to decide, well, is it going to resolve or not? I guess you could 301 it to FrenchTouchSEO.com.
Yeah, 301 or 410 or whatever.
410, you're going to tell it it's gone. My URL's gone.
No, yeah, right. No, you need to 301.
Be
Yeah. I was wrong on this one. The problem is some tracking tools need that question mark, and doing a rewrite rule will break up the tracking. But in theory, you can get away without that canonical. And
I used to always put because usually if that's happening to you, if you've got links with question marks in there that are sort of for tracking, then it's always the same parameter. And in Google Search Console, I always used to, haven't done it for a while, and I don't know if it's still there. I used to just tell Google to ignore that parameter. Which I think doesn't happen in Google Search. The new Google Search Console seems to have lost the parameter stuff. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't go so often in there anyway, so
I did find it useful when I did it, but great for ignoring affiliate URLs. You know,
the problem I have with Rel Canonical is I feel like people take the easy route with it. And it's a powerful tag. It can pretty much act like a 301. Okay, even so used wisely, why not? But the problem, like the Magento case, or there is an unlimited possibilities of implementing it wrong. So that does thing. If you do check it.
I tell you where it's been used in a black hat way, right, as well, is you're putting content up and then you rel canonical across domains. So basically you're effectively getting that 301 power without a link into the domain. And that's quite a clever idea. So you sit there and you've got some other big sites and you rel canonical to. So I mean, there's just no way. It's really hard to go and then find the backlinks or then track it back and find out why this site is suddenly ranking, because you haven't so much put in links from other sites. You've just put in these rel canonical sort of suggested that this is the best place to go. So tip for the black hats there.
If I remember correctly, going back to is it a directive or not, John Mueller explained why Google might ignore the canonical, and it goes back to content, because again, if it's duplicate content, question mark and parameters. Oh, doggy. Hello, doggy.
Sorry. She's seen a cat.
Well, you got two ways to deal with unexpected things during recording. Either you try to ignore that the dog is barking, or you take it into a contest.
She's not going to stop now, so we're just going to do it for the whole session, guys.
Welcome. That's.
But we're one take Laurent. This is so one take Dixon, one take Laurent. So we're just going to carry on.
So yeah, okay. If the same content is returned to Google, that's fine. But then if the URL structure is so messy that Google can't figure out what's what, then Google might just throw everything away and say, I don't understand, I ignore the canonical, and let it be. So it really all goes down to not be flaky when you build your website, and do a proper job, especially with JavaScript-based websites. I think there are a lot of possibilities for mistakes with whatever comes out on the front end.
Yeah, I agree, and the hardest one to get right, and I said it probably on the last time we talked canonicals, was hreflang. Getting that right does need to be done carefully, because that seems to be getting done wrong a lot as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't have the same hatred for canonicals that you do, Laurent. I think and it's good that we don't agree on everything, really. I'm quite happy with canonicals, but I think you do have to be consistent, and that's really there. I think you're better off trying to redirect everything to one version, so Google and a human being can't get it wrong. I think that's a much more preferable situation. But I still don't think there's a harm in putting canonical tag on the page to sort of sort out all of those variations of question marks and extra parameters that might get added on.
I don't hate it. It's just my problem is people doing it wrong. If it's done right, yes, it's wonderful. It's a very helpful tool to help sort out your content, and it's the easy way out to tell Google, okay, this is a dupe page or not.
I mean, I've seen in the past my content getting scraped and ripped off, complete source code and everything, and then put onto other web pages. But it doesn't matter if they scrape my page with the canonical, then all they're doing is helping me out. Either that, or they're trying to create some kind of suggestion of negative SEO or something. But that doesn't seem to have affected me. So
I've even seen once there was an issue with page speed because the canonical page, and because of JavaScript, was not rendering properly and so on. So it was not loading fast enough. And so Google was like, I don't know.
Okay. So are you suggesting that the canonical of the slow page was then effectively penalizing the non-canonicalized pages, which
Exactly.
were learning perfectly fast?
Yeah.
I'm quite prepared to accept that might be the case, but I would like to look at the data or the test first, because that may be correlation and causation gone wrong.
No, of course. It was just like one case, one client,
Yeah.
so I can't generalize. It's just an example of, in my opinion, my explanation for the problem was this server response time.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can also it's linked to everything. PHP and even like robots.txt, you need to match what you put in the robots.txt with the canonical, because also I've seen some like going different ways, for example, like a disallow in the robot.txt. So how do you want Google to go see that canonical and that content if you disallow it in the robots.txt?
But in the robots.txt, I just disallow /directory / well, usually by directory, but or a file name. But I wouldn't worry about the HTTPS or the www or whatever, because it would be I would put a relative URL in there anyway. So I guess you could get that wrong. I wouldn't overly think about it myself. But then again, maybe that's because I'm a half-assed SEO. And
it's when you migrate a website and you're like, okay, this entire part, I want to redirect it to another part. So the old way we would do a 301. Now they do canonical.
Yeah. But no, I agree. 301, 301, 301, all day in and out. get it 301 if you can. Yeah.
But you gotta let it crawl. If you don't let it crawl by robots.txt, they won't see the change. Google won't see the change. That's pretty obvious.
Very true.
Okay, so Canonical, I don't hate it, guys. I hate the easy approach to Canonical and the fact that I've treated so many Canonicals gone wrong that I wanted just to express,
highlight the error. Yeah. And I think the Magento one was a really good one at the start.
It's powerful, but it's so powerful that you have to be careful with it. Don't
Cool.
Be precise. Then, next time.
What's next time?
Another very interesting topic in relation to what we do with semantic SEO, you with the inlinks and me with rank for win and my topical mesh. We spoke about the 2,000 word myth about content, but let's go into long form content in general, because there's something very specific to...
and I think that's relevant right now as well. So exactly. Okay, it's good. See you next time.
Thank you.